Yay! Can you hear me? Do you want to unmute yourself? Bottom left-hand corner.
Oh, there we go. Unmuted.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I was sweating. I was going, oh my gosh, can I pull this off?
We made it. That's really good.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Tamika, you look so gorgeous. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you, beautiful.
Hang on 2 seconds, Destiny. Where do I press record?
It should be in the same options as where you made it go live on Facebook. Perfect.
Got
it's
it.
recording.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself and make sure that you set the settings so that when you turn your video off, that Tamika becomes the main screen. So there should be an option link next to the little video boxes at the top, and on those,
Yep.
you should pin her as the presenter, and then there should be an option to hide the videos that are not shown.
No worries. I'm all over it.
Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Bye.
Love you.
Okay. How are you, Tamika?
I'm good. Really good. How are
That's
you?
really well, thanks. This is my first time presenting on Zoom, live, on Facebook, and recording, so it's really a new thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through the stress and just, run with it. Just know that everything's just okay.
Surrender.
Absolutely. I know a little bit about you, and I have friends that have attended your beautiful, beautiful sacred Balinese 3-day intense.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to call them workshops. They're like a path of the goddess, and they're like an intense healing retreat, coaching session.
Yeah, so my Bali retreat's a 7-day transformational, goddess awakening retreat. Yeah.
Okay, so you are the founder of Path of the Goddess, and you do teaching and ceremonies, workshops, retreats worldwide, and you also leading with authority to the topic of feminine mastery, and have been doing intensive coaching, teaching, writing, and mentoring for the last 10 years. I honestly looked at you and I thought, oh my gosh, this woman can't be any younger than like 25, 23. And I read that and I've gone, oh my gosh, you look amazing.
Thank
But
you.
anyway.
34, I turned 35 in December, yes.
That's amazing. You look fantastic. So without further ado, I know you're based on the Gold Coast here in Australia, so we're virtually neighbours because I'm in South Brisbane.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So without further ado, I'm just going to let you go and listen to the amazing conversations that you're going to be sharing with us today. And I hear you doing a lovely meditation.
Beautiful. So feel free to ask me, Kelly, any questions as I go along as well. So I'm happy to just present on the topic of how to unleash the goddess within. So this topic is definitely aimed mainly at women. However, this the process that I'm going to speak about of evolution of the immature feminine consciousness moving into the mature feminine consciousness and then into the divine feminine consciousness it completely applies to men. So the immature masculine into the mature masculine and then into the divine masculine. So this conversation is definitely applicable to both men and women. However, I'll just speak to women. However, it's really applicable to both. So, but Kelly, feel free to ask me questions as we go through, hey, because that can really spur on heaps of content for me. If you feel like there's something that's popping up and you'd really be like, hey, I really want to ask that, feel free to do that. So how long do I have here? Is it 30 minutes to just talk about this topic?
Yeah. So you've got a meditation, and then you can go ahead and talk about whatever you need to talk about. And yeah, if I have anything that comes through, I'll just come in and maybe put my hand up because I'll turn my video off, and then we can then take it from there.
Okay, so on the topic of unleashing the goddess within, let's begin with a meditation, I guess. So if everyone can just close their eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths down into your pelvic space, which is the womb space for women, or the hara for men. So literally bring all of your attention down into your womb space, to the hara. So with your breath and with your intention, fill up the womb space. Connect here. So this is an area for most people that is actually quite numb, like extremely numb. And this is an area which has been shut down, especially for women, over the past 6,000 years. So this is an energetic center which really holds our creative power, which is our Shakti energy. So that's our sexual energy, it's our creative manifestation power, it's our intuition, it's the link to our gut feeling, but it also holds a lot of memories. So I find that most women are so disconnected to this part of their bodies. So as you start to breathe down here, just literally have the intention to connect. As a woman, this is actually where we want to be centered within ourselves as we're being and communicating and interacting with life. We actually want to be centered from the womb space. So as we connect here, see, sense, or feel the energy or the light here. And as you inhale, start to allow this energy to expand and to feel the womb space, to grow stronger in intensity, to increase the frequency, just to become stronger and brighter. Then let this energy fill your legs, moving downwards through your legs, through your feet, and then down to the womb of Gaia, basically, to the core of Gaia, to the earth. And just anchor your energy, your womb energy, down into Gaia. Feel her, connect with her, be present with this connection. Send your love down to her and allow yourself to receive her love back up into your body and her energy up into your body. So this is the first step in becoming centered and grounded in our feminine energy, is to do this process. Then let the energy come up to our heart and just breathe through the heart for just a moment. And what we can do is connect the womb with the heart by breathing the energy from the womb up to the heart and like in a circular motion, then exhaling the energy from the heart down to the womb space, then from the womb space back up to the heart, and then continuing exhaling down to the womb space, and just continue this circular connection between womb and heart, heart to womb. So this is a practice I do daily to just get connected and grounded in my feminine essence. And as I do this, I can feel my whole being soften and surrender. I feel my energy fields soften and expand. This will help you to drop into your feeling body, which is the feminine space. Coming out of your head, out of your mind, out of logic, which is more the masculine energy within us, and coming into the body, coming into a feeling place, which is the feminine place. Okay, so let's just come on back, hey? Open our eyes and come on back. Kelly, how did you go with that process? What did you feel?
Hi, Tamika. I'm back.
How did you go with that? What did you feel?
You know what? It really feels like you're actually coming into yourself. Like, I feel like entering into the heart, you can actually push away the other things that are around you that don't serve you right now. So that process for me was really, really soft. It was really feminine, which is what you're all about. And yeah, I feel really comfortable and clear. It's like giving me clarity in and around you going through the processes. I like it when, you know, people sharing and going through meditation, and they take you step by step by step, because then if you don't meditate on a day-to-day basis, it's kind of hard to do different aspects of what do you do next, or how do you take that next step, or what am I supposed to be feeling, but not letting them know what they're meant to be feeling and letting them feel that process, those questions. You know, it was really amazing, and it makes me want to know more, because it's made me feel really light.
So I'm actually glad you said all that. That's the perfect introduction into what I want to talk about, which is like the difference between masculine and feminine energy, which I'm sure you've spoken heaps about this on this show already. But like, I mean, let me backtrack for a second. So kind of 6,000 years ago, we had this massive the tides turned with our society. So we had a matriarchal society, and the women were the leaders. They were the boss. They were the leaders, and what their wisdom was that's what we listened to, and the men would action that. And they had fully activated feminine centers, which was their womb space, which was completely open, completely activated. So they had complete connection and access to their feminine essence, and this is where the wisdom came from. But they also kind of moved into their ego too much and abused their power, and men were not seen as equal. So there was a separation really between the feminine and the masculine, and they completely abused their power. And of course this made men angry and resentful. And so the tables turned, and about 6,000 years ago, the patriarchal society was birthed, and the men became the leaders through squashing the feminine. So what happened during this time was, you know, abuse. The abuse of the feminine began. Rape, violence, squashing her voice, not giving her a voice, and so she became second best, basically. And so for 6,000 years, women have been brought up and born into this world, which this patriarchal society, which has squashed the feminine. So everything that we are naturally about and naturally want to express and be has been seen as having no value or no worth. So just being born a female into this patriarchy society has really just had the result of women, A, being born with self-worth issues just because they're a woman, first up, and B, in order to gain respect from this society that values masculine principles, we've had to become more masculine. So we've had to harden. So it's interesting, Kelly, how you talk about how you softened during that process, because that's part of the feminine, is to soften and to come into our vulnerability and to access those softer parts of us, which, because at the crux of the feminine essence, the very root or the very foundation of feminine energy is love, which is the heart, which is like feeling. It's a feeling-based energy, which, you know, which results in compassion and empathy and the desire to want to nurture and creativity and sensuality and all of this. But masculine energy is the opposite. So if the heart was primarily feminine, the mind energy is primarily masculine. So we have logic, we have structure, we have willpower, we have externally focused, goal-orientated success goals that we move towards, right? So we have this external goal that we set and then we move towards it. We take action, so that's the masculine. At the crux of the masculine being mind-based energy, it's pure consciousness. So it's pure, just pure consciousness. So, but I can feel in my field that, you know, prior to coming into this work, I've been doing this work for about 5 years, I was so masculine, and I created everything I did in my life, my business, everything was from that masculine energy. And although I have a lot of like energy in general, like especially spiritual energy, which very naturally calls me into action, which can be a masculine quality, I also had a lot of false masculinity, which so many women, most of them that I see also have. It's this false masculine energy, which has actually become, it's a result of protection. So it's like, at our core as females, we actually are gooey and we're soft and we're loving. We want to nurture. That's the feminine. We also have that protector side of, you know, if you've got a baby and, you know, you've got that wild protector lioness energy too. That only comes out when it needs to, right? But usually it's just this, it's this softness. It's actually this softness that is pure love, unconditional love. And yeah, I can see how just so many women who I see, and this has definitely been my experience, is that that softness was never met in their childhood. Perhaps they weren't birthed in a way which was peaceful enough and gave them the programming that, hey, this is a safe world. Maybe they were birthed in a traumatic way, and that trauma or being slapped or just jabbed or, you know, feeling the fear or the stress from the mum, that first physical experience programmed them with this like fight or flight response, and this reality of, oh my gosh, this world is, it's a full-on place. And then different things have happened through their life, and basically it has kind of, it's just taught them that it's not all that safe here, and that they're unable to be heard and acknowledged and met. Kel, can you see the message here from Destiny on the right in the chat? But you're also on mute, so I can't hear you either.
Yeah, but I've got you on my phone and you are live. I've got Tamika.
Oh, okay. I was just watching on Facebook and all I could see was you, Kelly. And then I could just hear Tamika. I couldn't actually see her because she's not set as the presenter. She hasn't been clicked on the presenter, and because your video is still showing, it was showing you and not her. Also, it's streaming live to my Facebook page. It's not streaming live to the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising page.
I did it to the Divine Masculine and Feminine Summit page, and I just posted the link into your personal page, Destiny. and I've actually got the live streaming from the Divine Masculine Rising Facebook page on my phone, and I saw Tamika.
Okay, it must have just been
the whole time.
It must have just been a short glitch then, because mine says 17 minutes in, and it was you, and it says Destiny Faye Palladian is live streaming, and I'm not live streaming anything. So
Yeah, no,
I'll
no,
go
no.
and check. I'll go check on the other page.
No worries. I have it all under control, Destiny.
Thanks, Destiny. Okay, so we'll just continue, Eka. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Tamika.
No worries. So basically we have like these needs as women, like we want to be heard and we want to be loved and we want to be nurtured and we want to nurture, and there's this, and we want connection, right? And we want intimacy. And often we've had caregivers which have not had the awareness nor the ability to meet us in the way that we fully need it, in order to feel fully loved and fully supported and fully accepted and fully embraced as who we are. So we've had all these needs that are really not met in us, and they could be small needs or bigger needs. And so we grow up and we become a little hardened throughout our life, and then something else happens, another stress or a trauma happens, and we become a little harder. And so this is what's happened to so many women, and their softness, they've hardened their soft parts basically, and this is shown often in the body with armoring. So the belly and the womb space could be a little bit armored. The yoni is probably quite numb. The heart space could be armored. The throat could be armored, and these are places of protection. So with the Path of the Goddess work that I teach, it's bringing women back to themselves. It's guiding them to go on an inner journey to connect with their soul, with who they actually are, who they really are. And in order to do that, we have to more so release everything that we're not. So we have to release the hardness. We have to notice, what is protection when I'm being this way? Is this my authentic self, or am I just putting up a mask? Is this just a mask, or am I being defensive right now because that's a form of protection for myself, because I don't feel safe? So we really have to do so much self-inquiry work to really be able to identify who is my true self, which really is just this infinite aspect of love and wisdom and power. And it's a completely empowered, loving, very powerful aspect of ourself. It's our divine nature. But the inner work to really shed everything that we're not in order to become who we are, and this is really the process of moving into alignment, it's very deep inner work, and it takes time and it takes commitment. And this has been my process over the past 15 years, but specifically 5 years with the feminine based work, which took me so much deeper than all the work that I had done prior to this, which was all coaching based, mind, subconscious based type modalities. They were great, but it resulted in me having such an enlightened mind that I wasn't embodying anything that I was teaching, So I would talk about unconditional love, I would talk about empowerment, I would talk about joy and peace and all of this, but to embody it and to actually feel it in my cells was a whole different process. It's taken me 5 years of sacred feminine work, so womb work, different sacred sexuality practices, different tantric practices, to actually come in to my body, because I didn't feel safe. I just personally did not feel safe on this planet to be and to express who I really was. So doing the work over the past 5 years has literally brought my soul into my body so I could be grounded on this planet, be connected to Gaia, to Earth, and be able to express who I really am and share my message. So, and through that process, it's been so crazy at how much I have softened and I still have the ability to take action and to create fast and big success and all of that. But the way I'm being has changed so much. And effectively it's because I feel safe now, right? So it's been a process of really learning to feel safe and shifting the fear, the deep fear that was installed in my body. So another question, yeah.
So throughout my morning, I've spoken to several women, and they've spoken about grounding a lot. Okay, so one woman, has a different method of grounding, and another one has another one, and you would probably have another one. So a lot of us would get a little bit confused in and around, how to ground ourselves properly. So how would you answer that question?
There's different ways to ground, and so you'll be guided if you listen to your intuition on what's going to work best for you. And you can also try a bunch of different practices, and you'll feel in your body which one is most effective for you. For me personally, the womb meditation, literally just connecting to my womb and then sending that energy to Gaia, is what grounds me. But also the beach also grounds me. Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about the womb a lot, and I really understand why from my journey in and around, being birthed from my mother and different aspects when I was growing up as a child, took on different, habits of my mother's, and until such times as then I had that awakening of, oh my gosh, I don't want to be anything like my mother. I want to be who I am and who I want people to see that I am as, being unique in myself. Yeah. And with my children, there's a lot of hardness. I have 4 children, like I've said previously, and there's a lot of hardness coming through with our children these days. I'm not too sure if you have children, Tamika.
No, I don't.
No. So from primary school to high school to non-schooling, in releasing the hardness and the different confusions of peer pressure and stuff like that, have you had any, mums or any, teenagers or young adolescents come to you in dealing with, these issues that are currently really, really, live and flesh and raw in today's society?
Yeah, I work with mostly mums, to be honest, loads of mums, not so much teenagers. My work is quite deep, so it's probably not for the age group of teenagers. But in terms of us connecting with who we are, the biggest thing that I have personally found is clearing work. So using our life, and this relates to softness, so let me just link it all together for a second. So I look at my life and I notice what's showing up. So it could be my relationship, what's happening within my relationship. It could be the type of people who are showing up in my life. It could be the results in my business that's showing up, like my health, my body. And because I understand consciousness and the nature of this reality, what I know is that whatever is showing up in our life is 100% a reflection of our consciousness, of my consciousness. So I then take responsibility and go, okay, what is it? What belief, what energy is within me that's creating that external manifestation in my reality? So rather than externally trying to change that external reality or situation or personal relationship or whatever, I go within. So for example, my last relationship, he was lovely. I had massive openings in my feminine essence because of he was such a safe masculine. So I felt so safe with him and I, opened up so much. But then he really wasn't able to meet me on many, many, many other levels. So I realized that he wasn't able to love me in the way that I truly desired, because I have so much love to give and I'm such a giver that I wanted that to be equal. I wanted to be equally adored in my relationship as much as I adored my partner. So I thought, if he's not treating me like this, I'm clearly not treating myself like this, and I must have beliefs and programs within me that are preventing me from receiving the love that I would like to experience. So we broke up, and for 18 months, I just literally just went within, and I focused on sacred union with myself. I focused on going within, connecting to my womb space. That was just my practice. It got me connected to the deepest aspect of myself, particularly my feminine essence. Spending a lot of time in nature and just really loving myself, like through my food, through resting, through different ways of moving. I started dancing again. I started a Zouk practice because that's a form of self-love for me. I took more time off work, you know, that was a form of self-love for me. Working less, I created more balance in my life. That was a form of self-love for me. So I looked at my whole life in every single area and looked at really how can I be loving myself and treating myself like a goddess the way I want to be treated by someone else now with myself. And that was such a transformational year for me because I just, you know, my focus was purely on myself. And because I had burnout at the time, I was forced to stop a lot. So I couldn't work as much as I used to. I wasn't speaking as much as I used to. And yeah, I was literally forced to lie in bed a lot and just to stop and to rest. So it brought me into my body, forced me to stop and allow me to truly feel. And so another aspect of loving myself became really honoring my feelings. What was I actually truly feeling? And so much of my inner child stuff surfaced so I could feel it, acknowledge it, and give myself what that inner child aspect was craving. And because that was another aspect of my relationship which was highly unfulfilling. There was I really, you know, being such a deep person, I love conversations around, you know, what are you feeling? What am I feeling? And, you know, transformation type conversations. It's the work that I teach. So I wanted to be able to speak to my partner to have those types of conversations, but they just weren't happening because he lacked the depth and the ability to communicate his own emotional world. So it wasn't a fit. So I took responsibility for that too and realized, okay, where am I not listening to my own feelings? Where am I not acknowledging my own emotions? And clearly I need to deepen that relationship with myself. So 18 months later, yeah, I met my partner who I'm with now, and we're developing this beautiful relationship, which is, you know, quickly heading into a sacred union type of relationship. And that is the result of balancing my own masculine and feminine energies, but also clearing all the blocks to love. You know, I had so many programs from my mother, my nan, my ancestral lineage around unworthiness and inability to receive love. So I had to clear all of that. And it took time, and it was confronting, it was painful. And there was so much grief that was present in my heart, like huge amounts of grief that I just had to sit with. And just, you know, part of my self-love practice was to let myself feel, like fully feel. And so for months I had deep grief come up in waves, you know, and to actually give myself the permission to feel fully and just to sit with what I was feeling with no judgment really just allowed such a huge release and healing for me to happen, which then allowed my new partner who's come in, you know, he is such a mirror reflection of me and my ability to sit with my emotions, because if stuff comes up for me or him, we're able to sit with the feelings that each other has with no judgment and literally hold space for each other's emotions with complete love. Like, it's the most beautiful healing connection that I've ever had. So through this process, I became softer. I connected more with my true self. So it's not so much about, like, I understand, coming back to your question about mums and, you know, who've got busy lifestyles, and it's definitely harder. I don't have children. It's definitely I have more time than, say, yourself with 4 children. So, but it's all about making time for yourself, even if it's 10 minutes a day, to literally go within yourself and to notice. The key is to notice, what is my energy doing? Is it fragmented? Is it frantic? Am I thinking in my head? Do I feel hard? Or can I just take a couple of breaths into my womb, into my heart? Can I just soften? Can I drop into my feminine? Can I be anchored here? And just taking the time to connect in that way. For some women, it could be dancing, putting on some music for 10 minutes, just like flowing, you know, just moving their body and just flowing, because the feminine is flow. For some women, it could be taking a little quick walk on the beach, you know, slowly, not that masculine, fast-paced, got to burn X amount of calories type way, but just flowing, you know. Or is it, I don't know, putting on some music or drumming or getting out your incense or your candles? There's so many different ways to connect, but it has to happen from within. And then the continued practice is like, as you connect to your own energy field, these programs from your mother, from your ancestors, from your past lives, etc., will begin to surface. So you'll feel them within you. You'll become so connected to yourself that you will feel, oh, I've got a fear coming up. Oh, I've got an insecurity coming up. Oh, I'm agitated. Oh, that person just said that to me, and now I feel disempowered. And you'll be really conscious of, you know, what's being triggered within your own field. Then you'll have the ability, I guess the work I teach is to teach people how to do this for themselves, but eventually you can learn from myself, if you feel called, to clear that stuff for yourself. And this is definitely a lifelong process. And the more you clear, the programs are almost the things that make us hard. The programs are the things that actually keep us disconnected from our true self, which I would call our soul. The programs are what keep us stuck. The programs are what cause us to self-sabotage. The programs are what cause us to attract into our life the very things that we don't want, the very things that we're going, I don't want this to happen, and this is a problem. And you've got to go, okay, what is the core within myself? What is the root cause? And it'll always come back to a belief, an energy, an attached emotion that was created at some point in time, either in your childhood, your conception, your birth, your ancestral, your past life history, whatever. But they have to be cleared. And the more that stuff is cleared, the more you can come into the truth of who you are, which is really the essence of love. And that is a soft energy. There's no hardness, because there's no protection. There's no need for protection. You literally are love, which is the universe, and you realize you don't need protection. So this has been my process. That was a really long way of answering your question.
You know what? It was really easy to follow, Tamika. You've got a very soft voice that goes with the soft programs, and the alliance of everything you're putting together really flows. So, you know, congratulations on that, because, you know, not many people can you know, put that together in such a beautiful, easy to understand, and in today's language. Do you know what I mean? Some of the people that I go to, they kind of use different words, and I go, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
But you explained it really beautifully, and yeah, I thank you. That's lovely.
Good. Oh, I'm happy.
Yeah. I have one last question for you. You've got 2 programs at the moment. It's the Path of the Goddess, a healing pathway for women, and Birthing, unleashing the goddess within. How do you know when you need to put on a new project? So you've got 2 projects, and then
I've got basically, the work is called Path of the Goddess, and it's literally an evolutionary pathway for a woman to come in at level 1, then to go to level 2, then to go to level 3, and then there's teacher training if they wish after that. So there's 3 programs, and it's literally a pathway where I guide and support women and my team. I've got a bit of a an amazing team of women who also support the women. It's a pathway for a woman to come in, connect with where she's at, and literally shed everything she's not to become who she's meant to be, so she can step into her soul purpose, step into her soul mission, and literally manifest the love, the sacred union, but also the life that is fully in alignment with who she really is and who she can become. There's not a lot of us who really do truly become our potential, and literally embody our soul. It's such a deep journey.
That was going to be one of my next questions, how do you know when you've gotten to that level? And I know you can feel into it and a whole heap of different things, but people go, well, you know what, I feel really complete at this particular point in time. I don't think I need any additional training. And then you'll hear them say next week, oh, I'm going to this seminar, or I'm going to do a retreat in Bali with, Tamika or whoever else is out there. So from one day to the next, you can feel so complete, and then the next day you can feel completely empty, can't you?
I think for me in my journey is that, I had so much trauma in my system that there was so much healing and release that needed to happen in order for me to almost, it was like my soul was very fragmented. I had so many different aspects here and here and here. And my healing journey was really just like grabbing this aspect and integrating her, and grabbing this aspect and integrating her until I felt whole. And once that process was complete, then I felt whole, and I felt like I was a woman that needed nothing outside of myself to feel complete or happy or fulfilled. That wholeness has never gone since that time happened, which was about maybe a year ago. I reckon I fully came into my wholeness as a woman. But then the next stage after that is so that's kind of I call that the human level. It's kind of like moving from our little girl and healing our inner child and really doing all the work to heal our past so we have closure with all our past relationships, our parents, etc., including our past lives, and clearing the ancestral programs. Once that stuff is fully clear, you are then whole. After that, the next stage of evolution, which does not ever end, it's a continual thing of evolution, is really the embodiment of your divine aspect, which I call your divine feminine self. And that's like getting the highest aspect, your highest self, the highest frequencies, the highest energies of who you are as a multidimensional being, and literally embodying those aspects, being divine love, being joy, being peace, being wisdom, being power. And that is a whole another level. And so that's more my level 3 work, which is level 3, but of course the work never ends. So for a woman who thinks she's done, we're never done, right? But we do have a soul contract, we do have a soul pathway, we do have on that soul pathway, we do have a specific level of our potential that we're meant to, or that we can come into if we do the work and if we choose. So if you listen within to yourself, you'll know when you're ready to go to the next stage of your evolution and who to guide you to assist that process. So you just really have to listen. But even that is not easy for some women, because it's like so many women I meet are disconnected from the parts from their intuition that they can't actually hear. And if they do hear, they have too much programming, which is fear-based programming, which then stops them. So, this is what we kind of work through in level 1, is like all this stuff. So you're clear to go, oh, I'm connected to myself and here's my intuition. And then you know how to move forward. Like literally every single choice in your life becomes so easy, and you have so much clarity because you're just connected to your truth. There is only one truth, and you feel it and you know it, and within yourself. So life becomes super easy, because then once you're on your soul path, oh my gosh, once you're in alignment, everything falls into place with so much flow and effortlessness and ease. Like it's literally like magic. Like it feels like magic, because you're like, I'm taking action, I'm creating, but life feels so easy. And like I look back 5 years ago, I was putting in the same amount of effort and action, yet my business has probably tripled, doubled to tripled maybe, and the work is the same, but it's because I'm in alignment. So I'm able to manifest with so much greater ease, because it feels like when you're in alignment with your soul, you're in alignment with the divine plan. You're literally in alignment with what God/goddess or source is wanting the evolution on this planet. You're literally aligned with the divine plan on earth.
Yeah.
So of course the whole universe is literally then behind you in support of your vision, which is your soul's vision, which is the divine vision. It's all one and the same because we're all connected. So this is where we all need to head. Like, this is where we all need to head and get to in order to become our potential and to experience the magic that is possible within this human experience.
That's amazing, Tamika. That is a very lovely answer, and so have all your answers been today.
Thank you.
I just wanted to, before we get on to our panelists and finish with all the speakers for the summit, you have some workshops or some conferences coming up.
Yeah, so I do have
Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast.
Yeah, so I think we've got Sydney, Melbourne, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast. Yes.
On the 14th of May, you're in Sydney at the Mercure.
Yes, correct.
And then on the 4th of June, you're at the Sunshine Coast at the Bella Vista Meeting Place.
Oh, actually, we've moved that. So yeah, we're just
okay.
Yeah, Kawana Community Centre. We've moved to.
Okay, so you might want to change that on your website.
Oh, is that not change it? Okay, good.
Yeah, that's okay. And on the 25th of June, you're in your hometown on the Gold Coast at where are you? Service Paradise at the Mantra Legend Hotel.
Yes.
Yeah, and then on the 9th of July, you're in Melbourne. And you doesn't really say, it says just Collingwood.
Yeah, I've just got to confirm the location, but
No worries. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today and being patient with us while we get all the technical glitches out of the way before we get started.
No problem.
We would really love you to be able to finish with your poem.
Oh, yeah, okay, let me pull it up. Yeah, so I was going to do one around relationships, but I thought, seeing as we've spoken a lot about the goddess, I'm going to do this one. So this is called, this is called I Am, the Eternal Goddess. So I am purity, I am love, I am a gift sent from above. I am in service to the divine, I am here as light to shine. I am power, I am perfection, I am a giver of affection. I am radiance, I am wisdom, I am the dark and light envisioned. I am the stars, I am the earth, I am the one to create and birth. I am all of life itself, I am that I am, the eternal goddess.
Oh, that's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Beautiful, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so
By
much.
the way, hello.
Hello.
Hi. If you would like, Tamika, if you don't need to rush off, you could join our panelists for, a group chat and anything that, people are wanting to have a conversation about.
Love to.
Yeah, no worries. We've just been joined by Dakota and I Am Rich. And that is remembering I create happiness. Welcome.
What's
Hi,
up?
Dakota.
Welcome.
Would you like to say some stuff, Dakota?
Can you remind me of the theme?
It was the divine masculine. It's all about divine feminine and masculine.
So should I just launch into a presentation about it, or what are we looking for here? Conversational topics? What?
Conversation topics about, everyone can start to interact with it.
Okay. I'd love if maybe we could talk about, so from the perspective that there's the divine feminine and the divine masculine within every sentient being, how do we identify those things inside of ourselves and interact. Like, how do we know, oh, I'm interacting in divine feminine now, or I'm acting from it or not acting from it, or divine masculine? And I'd like to start that with, I feel like the feminine state is an allowing and a receptivity to information of various sorts, and masculine is a directing or an enacting of that information to do something.
I would agree. Yeah, I would completely agree. And what I feel like on our planet is most missing is actually the feminine aspect within both men and women. So I feel like that is probably a really important focus for men just as much as it is to awaken their feminine so they have more balance within themselves.
And I am Rich. Would you like to comment on that?
Okay, my apologies, I walked away. I did hear you say something about the masculine and feminine energy. What was your...
My question, Rich, is how would you identify the masculine energy in yourself and separate that from the feminine energy? And how do you know the difference, basically?
To me, I feel that it's the feminine is something of allowing. You allow more of the energy, and the masculine is more of direct and making it happen. It's just there's no question about it. It's just bam, you know. We don't
hear what you didn't hear my answer to it, Rich?
No, I walked away to go close my door. So
that's great. I said really almost the exact thing, word for word.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge when you're not aware of these aspects. For myself, it was challenging because I woke up to this in a year before the 12-12-12, or December 21st. So just to have an understanding of what this feminine and masculine was a shocker to me, knowing that I grew up in a Hispanic family and being that machismo mentality. You know, it's just, you know, we're, how do you say, I call it created, but in reality it's doctored into believing that we have to be a certain way. You know, that we're not supposed to show our emotions, that we got to just take care of certain things and get it done, and it goes our way, if not, you know, the highway. You know, you have to do it one way. There's no ifs or buts. The females to take care of the household, raise the kids, and do whatever she's pretty much told. I mean, that's how I was raised. And understanding and seeing the abuse within my own family showed me that that it was not a way I wanted to live. So growing up, I seen something different, and then all this feminine and masculine energy that was being talked about as I was getting waking up to this, what we call, I guess, spirituality, consciousness, awakening, ascension, whatever name you want to label it. It came as a blow, you know, because I wasn't accustomed to this feminine energy, and my vessel took it in at full force.
That's beautiful. And I am what you say about, you know, expressing our emotions, because one thing I've noticed, like my partner, you know, he, prior to meeting me, was really mind-based, just would live from his mind. It was all just, you know, that was his primary centering, was in his head. And so coming into my space, as we've connected, it's brought him into his heart so much more, into his hara, and he's now feeling so much more emotions because I hold such a safe space for him to go there. He's feeling, he's, you know, tearing up and expressing gratitude or pain, or, you know, and all this past stuff is just coming up to be felt and to be expressed, all this emotion. And he said to me, he said, like, we've only been together for a month now, and he said he's become more of a man in the last month than he has doing any other type of man's courses, like fighting or boxing, or just because he feels more whole within himself. And, you know, so would you guys agree to that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tamika, I can really relate to you in that space with my partner, who we connected with him probably about 5.5 years ago. And in such a short time, being able to express how we feel in having the masculine and feminine energies in connecting, it was like a force of energy between the two of us, and it was inevitable that we actually came together. And once we actually started communicating with each other and respecting each other, which was a major thing for me in a relationship, because I was never respected. I don't know whether, I didn't allow that, or I released old patterns to then bring that into then accept that in my new relationship. But now we totally respect each other to who we are and both of our energies together. And so that was brought upon really, really strongly. So, it's really beautiful.
It is beautiful, because I feel like, there's a really high rate of suicide in Australia. Like, I think it's the highest in most of the world, and I feel like with men in particular. And I feel like this happens because men have never really, like, there's so much women's work out there these days, and which is fantastic. I mean, I teach women's work too, and I feel like we need more men's work, but men's work in the way of like bringing men into that space of sharing their emotions and accessing their feminine, their emotions. It's been amazing to watch my partner really become a man just from, delving into emotions.
No, I just know from growing up in that masculine energy, one of the biggest things that I grew up was almost needing to prove myself.
Right. Yeah.
Today, I feel when that masculine energy comes around and wants to challenge, it's like, I don't need to prove myself.
Yes.
When you are a real man, you don't need to prove anything.
Yes, exactly.
Because you could stand in your own confidence without having to be out there and trying to prove that, I can beat you up. Let me prove to everybody that I can beat you up. No, it's not even about that. I know what I'm capable of, and my confidence staying balanced within that. Funny thing is, when you approach, when these people approach you, it's funny because they can't even approach you anymore, because that energy, the only reason that energy comes out is because you're emitting it as a masculine male. And the same thing goes for that feminine energy. When you're emitting an energy, you're only going to run into that conflict that you're emitting. And if you have anger and you want to fight somebody, even though you're in the spiritual path and you're holding things in, and you're saying you don't want to do it, what happens is your body automatically is going to attract that person into your life so you could release that. But how you go about it will make the biggest difference. You could confront it, or you could just try to share the energy, see the reflection, know what's going on, confront it, and walk through it instead of having to confront it as anger and get into a fight. There's different ways to approach the energies, and it was a challenge for me at times, because I went through the process actually, of learning that I was the one emitting the energy.
Yes, you were the one creating your reality from what your energy field was holding, the programs and the emotions and the beliefs.
Correct. And this is one thing I want to share too, because I've spoken a little bit about feminine and masculine energy before, and I've spoken about my partner, my wife. And I want to make sure this is clear. A lot of times we're speaking, and I've been married for 28 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So when I'm sharing stories, I'm sharing aspects or fractals of my life during those periods and how I thought during those times. How my mind is today and how we communicate and share, it's totally different now. I had to learn to become a better person because I was the person that was angry. I was the judgmental person. She's always been the compassionate, loving person. And people could take things out of context when they're only hearing part of the conversation or only hearing one point of view. All of us, when we're talking about any of these things, we have to always keep in mind that these realities that we're experiencing ourselves. Yes, we are with partners. Yes, they're experiencing something, collectively because we're in a group, but who knows what they having to go to clear or what issues they got to deal, what they're thinking, or what emotions they're going through them, or what's being projected. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people have miscommunication. You know, the universe purposely puts us in positions to have miscommunication so we can deal with each other. You know what I'm saying? So we can learn to balance that differences within each other, not running away from that energy, you know, and actually dealing with it head on, no matter what it is. And one of the hardest things for me was understanding the difference between communicating with the male, communicating with the female, and not understanding that the biggest problem I ever had is listening. You know, just sit there and listen to what they're sharing or what she was sharing. You know, I think it's very important for us to listen, you know, as men. We haven't taken the time to listen. And I think it's very important.
I guess listening comes back to presence in the masculine energy, doesn't it? Just being fully present.
Yeah. Exactly. And the funny thing is, and even with me, with my guy friends, I remember them having a conversation at times and saying, you know, Richard, you know, we're over here talking and, you know, I'm answering their questions or whatever, but they'd say that my mind was always somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it was because as a business owner, I was always thinking about business, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm always a dreamer. So I was always dreaming. That's my creative ability is as a dreamer manifester. I'm constantly daydreaming. I'm always daydreaming about the realities. And that's one of my missions. That's one of the biggest things that I'm being guided to is to dream, envision the future. So when I run into anything that's negative or something that's being broadcast in the news, I'm guided to set a different intention, a different outcome. Beautiful. To assist. And that's all of the assistance of bringing the feminine and masculine energy together as one. Uniting the energies brings your consciousness higher, which allows you to manifest faster.
Yes, and I feel like it's knowing when to dream and when to be present. And what I've loved most about my current relationship is that I guess the presence that he brings. And it feels like, because I mean, he'll do things like he'll just, you know, he'll come up in my face, you know, he's right there and he's just looking at me and holding my hands all the time. And he's always just right here and his body's facing me, his eyes are connected. And what's happening energetically is that we have this sacred union container, this energetic container that is created, and it's like, it's pure love, just so much love between us. But within that container, so much is surfacing, like you said, you know, like his patterns, my patterns, fears, etc. But we've made a commitment to hold that, to come back to the container, to let the divine love that we feel transmute all this stuff that's coming up within us, so our container can continue to hold higher and higher frequencies of love, right, which then goes through the collective consciousness.
I usually go all based everything on trust and allow, in the aspect that the universe and my higher self knows exactly when I'm going through the process. And because I've been in a continuous process since 11/11/11 of clearing my vessel and raising my consciousness, everything that comes around me, including these conference calls, these meetups, it's been amazing that these last 3 days, let alone we're in a retrograde, how much releasing I've been going through personally in the aspect of residue connections and old patterns and old contracts that were just lingering around, and feeling the heat literally burn your body and burn all those energies that are no longer serve us, you know. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I feel that we're here on these conference calls, is to balance those energies within the group.
I agree.
And being that trusting and allowing, and not about trusting everything that's outside of us, but trusting those feelings that we're getting inside and knowing when to move on them when we're guided to.
Fully. Absolutely.
And I feel that the biggest thing is about bringing the balance of the masculine and feminine energy. I felt that when I was going through the process, that was my main goal, was to integrate these energies and in my reality, it made me very feminine. It made me emotional. I think I've cried more in this last 4 or 5 years than ever. And it's, again, having to express myself as a male. And, you know, again, not to bring my partner too much involved into my conversation, but, you know, when the roles change and it's almost like she's the masculine one and you want attention, and, you know, again, there's a long story behind, you know, our marriage. And it's not, whatever she was doing to me, I did it to her first. You know, I caused it, you know. So those reflections that were being shown to me, and she was doing it, you know, other because she was busy or, you know, etc. You know, my emotion was I wanted the attention, and I wasn't getting the attention I wanted. So it's like, you know, you want more, and then that energy grows, and then you're like looking outside of yourself to try to balance, and it's like, no. And I had to learn to bring balance with those emotions as they were coming into my body.
Yeah.
Because I would stress her out, you know, by wanting, needing, expectations, and learning to let all that stuff go. And like I tell her, you know, it's a process. I go, I'm telling you these things, but it's, you know, it's a process of me communicating, because I wasn't, again, my biggest problem was I wasn't communicating. And I think that's the biggest problem with masculine men. We don't want to communicate.
Yeah.
We want to just let it go, move on, and let's go to the next project, and let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. My partner has probably a lot of feminine energy. Is like super creative, you know. So there's a lot of that. But he's the best communicator I've ever been with, and because of that, we're able to process and move through so much so easily and so quickly. In fact, I've never seen someone grow so quickly, and I know that, yes, he's willing and he's ready and he's open, but also it's due to his ability to communicate exactly what he's feeling and what's going on inside of him. It's been amazing to see. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I feel the biggest thing right now with any masculine and feminine energy, any relationship, any partnership right now is communication, is learning to talk and speak your truth within the relationship, no matter what the outcome is, no matter if, you know, you're afraid that you're not going to get yelled at or whatever. Because after you have that discussion, what happens is there's a balance of energies. And if you project how you want your outcome to be, what happens is you shift into those realities where the persons are more receptive. But if you're angry and frustrated, what happens is you shift into or stay in the same, what I call Groundhog Day, and you keep repeating the same thing over and over again. As you fix those things within yourself, what happens is you just automatically shift into the other reality where your partner is more receptive. Or if you're angry, well, she's more against it, you know.
Yeah.
It's learning to be aware of your projections of what you're doing when you're having a discussion with somebody, if you're staying into that same pattern, you know.
A high level of awareness for some people.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was challenging, the stuff that I was shown. So I try to just be as open-minded as possible and share what comes to mind when asked questions. You know, it's just, there's so much, we're all open in so many aspects of our lives right now that we're growing. It's just, I trust and allow that who's ever meant to listen to these conversations will when they're ready. I'm not, and if it's meant to trigger people, well, then, you know, I know it's doing its good, you know.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had a couple people ask me a few questions, and, you know, again, they helped me clear some things out, made me more aware, make me understand a few things. So it's like I integrate that energies into my body. The rest that's not needed, I let it go and I move forward. Yeah. You know, I don't allow these things to hold me down, or if it's going to cause a problem, stop from me moving forward. You know, life continues to move on. You know.
I actually want to speak to something that Dakota mentioned at the start. He said that you know, how do we connect with the divine, masculine and feminine? And something that's just dropped in to me that I need to speak about is, this is pretty personal, but it's, I think, super important, is my practice of sacred sexuality. It is like when I'm making love with my partner, there's, it's no longer about the goal, and I just come into this complete receptivity, complete softness, and through him being so present, it's like his masculine presence penetrates my energy field open like a flower. And the other day we had this experience where the feminine essence is basically held in the womb space of a woman, and I could feel my womb, the different gates of consciousness opening till it felt fully flowered open, and I saw nothing but cosmic stars, just black void, like the stars with just stars. And I said to him mid making love session, I said, come join me, come into this space. And so we were just eye gazing while we were connected physically, and I could feel my divine feminine, and what it feels like is this super powerful, infinite love is the only way I can describe it. And so I invited him into this womb space with me, and no words were spoken, but our eyes were gazing and locked, and I could feel him join me. But then all this fear of his surface, this primal fear of death, this fear of letting go of control. He said, like, we communicated through the process. He was like, I feel like, thanks to Coda, yeah, he says, I feel like the little boy is dying. It's like, in order for me to go into this void with you, I have to die. The boy in me has to die. And he didn't quite get there, but I know next time it happens, he will. And I feel like for men to fully enter that feminine void space in lovemaking, I think there's terror, because you do have to die. Like the ego, this aspect of the ego, yeah, it just has to die and crumble, so then you can be rebirthed literally into who you actually really are, this deeper, infinite, more expanded aspect. And because the masculine's so used to structure and holding everything together, it's terrifying. It's more terrifying for the masculine than it is for the feminine, who's used to that chaos and used to that expansiveness. So yeah, it was really fascinating what was happening, and I could literally feel just how multi-dimensional aspects, just so much was happening multi-dimensionally. Like in that moment, we weren't moving, we were just still, and yet so much was, we were traveling, like so much was happening. It was, and you can feel the divinity. Like it's someone who hasn't meditated before would not be able to feel this, because it's such a subtle realm of energy, but it's so exquisite, this feeling, so divine. And that's my favorite way to connect to my divine aspect. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Tamika. That was absolutely an amazing journey.
Yeah, and I must say that often what happens when we're making love is that I literally get messages from his higher self, then his human self will say it. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. It's like our higher selves are like totally in sacred union. Our physical selves are still catching up sometimes, but I'm like, oh my God, I just heard you say that to me. And then you're just saying that to your mouth. It's crazy. I've literally never had a telepathic connection like this with anyone in my life. Like our souls are so in union. It's crazy. It's just amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
So, Rich, did you have a question like that you would like to share with us to then communicate with? Dakota had to leave, so yeah.
Well, actually, questions, not really. I'm pretty blank. I'm pretty open to the now, unless Spirit has something that comes up. I really pretty much always blank unless someone has a question for me. You know what? Do you guys want to do a little grounding meditation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'll share a little bit before I go into the grounding. That is my cup of tea. That's one of my main purposes, to ground in the higher consciousness frequencies.
Perfect.
And that's one of the first things that I was brought aware to, was the goddess energy as I was waking up, and that my mission was here to hold presence of that energy and allow for the goddess within each person to flourish. So I'm here to hold space and allow for individuals to flourish. I do carry the frequencies and the codes, and I do healings and mass healings at that. But again, it's not for me. I'm not actually doing it. It's, you guys are coming up, and when you guys are ready, that's when, I share. And since you were speaking earlier, I got to do the grounding meditation with you guys.
Perfect.
All right. And I know everybody's aware, and there's a lot of different ways. And I'm just going with the little basic grounding. And the main purpose that I'm speaking is to allow for you guys to feel the energies and stuff. I already know that most people know how to ground. It's pretty much setting intention. And what I'm going to ask from everybody is, first of all, to go ahead and eyes open, closed. It doesn't matter to me, because it's all energy. It's understanding who you are and trusting and allowing that you're in the energy at all times. Now, I want you to go ahead and grab a pair of scissors or anything and just go around your whole body and just start cutting any tethers or anything that you might see that might be attached to you, either from these conversations or from your family, household, friends, etc. Just underneath your feet, above your head, just cut everything off. Now, as you do that, I want you to imagine a 3-foot diameter ball sphere in front of your third eye. Now, I want you to pull it in through your third eye into your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, down to the back of your neck. Now, I want you to drop that ball down the back of your spine, all the way down to your root chakra. I want you to imagine your root chakra spinning clockwise, 3 feet in diameter. Now, I want you to attach any element that you think of to ground yourself. Now, that could be a, oak tree, crystals, if you're working with specific crystals, anything you like. Now, when you attach that to your root, I want you to imagine that you have links, the size, links in a chain link, like a chain that you attach to pull something. And I want you to imagine those links the size of the Empire State Building. Huge, huge links. And a lot of them going all the way down to the core of the earth. Now I want you to attach your chain to an anchor. And I want you to anchor yourself into the core. And that anchor is of any element, again, that you might be working with crystals, etc. Now, I want you to imagine that your root chakra is spinning clockwise. I want you to open up your root and imagine it to be a funnel. And anything that no longer serves you is being released at this time. And just feel it leaving your body. Any hates, residues, old programming, fears, doubts, hesitations, old beliefs. Just feel it all wash away. Now I want you to close that funnel. And as you close that funnel, I want you to call any energy that you have emitted, sent out via conversation, via these meetup meetings, any energy that you've ever given out to anybody, call all your energy back into your body. Not only to this reality, but all realities, all dimensions. feel those fractals refilling your body back and all those empty spaces that you had in your body from all the releasing that you just did. Feel how your body's starting to feel complete. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to open up the crown. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a vortex. It doesn't matter if it's spinning clockwise or spinning counterclockwise. I want you to bring that vortex in as white light. And I want you to bring it in from the top of your head. And I want you to spin it in every aspect of your body, going straight down into your body, each leg, each of your arms. And just if there's anything lingering in your body, that clear white vortex that's spinning, just imagine it just shooting anything that's left in your body out. Now, I want you to take a deep breath and grab that energy and run it all the way down to the core of the earth. Now, as all that energy goes down, I want you to imagine it as you take a deep breath, as it's transmuting, integrated into the planet, and then bring it back all the way up into your solar plexus. Now, as you breathe that out, I want you to breathe it out through your crown, into your aura. Now, I want you to sit in this energy for a little bit and just feel it. Now, imagine that this is happening with you at all times. That it comes natural, that it is natural, that all you got to do is remember the deep breath and you'll be in this state again. Now, if you feel tired or sleepy, it's okay. It's okay if you fall asleep and you come back to it again. A lot of these energies can be very overwhelming at times. Just allow these energies to integrate. There you go. How do you guys feel?
Good, I'm clearing a lot. My yawning is just me clearing heaps.
Yes.
Yeah, feels really good.
It feels amazing. It was like, I don't know, the most fulfilling for me was when we were bringing the sunlight straight through the crown chakra and then filling up the body. It was, I just had a feeling come over me like no other. It was beautiful.
Now, that's just a little bit of what I do. I mean, there's a whole process of what I go grounding. I actually go and ground everything, every part of our bodies into the planet, into our higher self, into the central sun, connecting to your higher self. This is some of the stuff that I was taught and shown and guided.
It's funny I am because I have a similar process to this as well.
It's just, I'll go in, you could feel my aura up, create that. I don't like to use the word protection because the moment you use the word protection, you're creating something to protect yourself from. So I call it a shield, that literally my aura is my shield. And what happens is I'll fill up my shield of layers of these energies. I am a fully Christed being, so I use the white light, the violet flame, and then the gold next to my body. 1 foot each one, 3 foot of diameters. And I bring all that energy from the central sun and I fill my aura until it's nice and thick and dense. So the first layer automatically repels anything that wants to get around you. Whatever can get through you automatically gets transferred with the violet flame and integrated. And then you have your gold shield that literally is impenetrable to who you are.
Beautiful. I often use my womb energy to fill my body and my auric field, so that, you know, my own essence is like you said, it creates a shield so nothing can come in.
Right.
Or, you know, penetrate my own energy, or harvest, or take, or hook in. Or it's like, boom,
right.
Here I am, not out of fear, like you said, but it's like claiming my space. Here I am. This is my energy. It's mine, not yours. So
right.
It's a very,
One of my things is, because I do leave my energy field open because I'm working with the planet a lot, and raising the collective. It's very important for me to keep my energy up, and keeping a form of some sort of cardio to keep my frequency at a consistency. So what happens is your average spiritual individual will go out, and because of the energies, we get dragged down. And I know, because this was what's happening to me at the beginning. I had all these frequencies and people were pulling me down and pulling me down. So now, by keeping my frequency, my energy strong, what happens is I pull people up easier. And I'm able to just walk up to, I grab all these energies, and people are saying, Rich, how do you do these things? My body automatically, as I'm walking down the street, I'm picking up all these energies and I store them in my body. And then I walk up to a person and quickly touch them or give them a hug and just whoosh, like literally wash a person like that. And it's crazy. People are always blown away because they're like, how do you do that? And like, you know what? The universe showed me all these different things. And when the person's open, I just walk up and touch or wave, or it's just, it comes natural.
You and I are similar, because when I'm like guiding my groups through a meditation or different healing practices, what I'm actually doing more than my words, it's all energy. I just literally channel the goddess frequencies, because that's where I come from, the realm of fertility. So I'm literally like goddess, and just being those frequencies out into the room, and the shifts happen from my energy. So I do similar things to what you do.
Right. And that is the goddess that we carry. You know, it's I know that's the main purpose that I'm here, is to hold that goddess frequency and to allow those ones around me. I'm, what do they call those, transformers, step down transformers. We bring in the full force, and then we step and emit it so people could actually receive it and take it in and start integrating it into their body slowly. And what it is hold the space so they could fully develop in that energy.
Yes, exactly. Holding space. Exactly. That's exactly what we do. Yeah.
Because it ain't, they know it all. And even like I was sharing earlier about my partner's not awake, and she's not doing the work like I'm doing. And people misunderstand when I'm sharing regarding, because there's an understanding when there's a reason why we're still together. We could not exist if there wasn't some sort of her understanding. Even though she might not admit that she's into all this stuff or knows all this stuff, there has to be an understanding. My frequency is just way too high for an average person just to be around me. Exactly. We would be clashing day in and day night. And the clashing that we have is not about that. It's about learning to discover the balance within the frequencies that I carry, because I was out of balance. And as I clear that, what happens is I shift into the reality where she's more in tune to me, because the only reason I'm out of balance is because I admitted all that stuff and she picked up on that stuff. And now, because the universe wants me to clear it, she's the only person that's around me. She's the one who's going to do it to me, for me to become aware, you know? And as I clear that, heal that, then what happens is it automatically, because she spoke her truth. Well, you did this to me, you did that. Well, guess what? Now she's doing her clearing because she's speaking her truth. Yeah. Where before, she didn't want to speak her truth because she didn't want to make me mad, and I didn't want to speak my truth because I didn't want to make her mad. And because now I'm speaking my truth, guess what? It automatically makes her speak her truth. So guess what? We both consciously go up. Yeah. And yes, it becomes tough at times for both of us, because we don't have the option to run. This is about unity. This is not about running and letting go and giving up. You're going to tell me God's going to help you until you wake up and he's going to say, you know what, you can leave me now? Or he's going to leave now? No. How is this possible that people think that you can just walk away from a relationship because you're tired of it or you want to give up? No. You know, it's about learning that relationship, there's something that you're there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, as you start waking up, and every person that's in that relationship is there for a reason. And they have to discover that aspect of themselves. You know, they're saying, well, my husband is very abusive and beats me up. Well, is it maybe because you're beating up your children, or maybe because you allowed your father to do this and you have to get back and you have to speak your truth and stand up and say something about it? Which one is it? You know, you have to allow. I know that as hard as it's sometimes to hear some of these things, as we pick these situations that we're in before we even came here, and knowing that you have the choice to stand up. And I tell this to any female or even any male, because the abuses come on both aspects, male or female. You know, learn to stand up, because the moment you stand up, and this is one thing that the goddess energy told to me, I don't care who you are of a woman out there, the moment you look a man straight in the eye and say, no, stop, with your energy and say, I'm done, there is no way that masculine energy could keep moving forward. It has to stop. But if you are still looking away, turning away, not want to confront that, then that energy keeps coming and keeps coming. And it's a matter, what I show, it's done. The abuse is done. It's been done. The only thing that's happening is certain people are still allowing it. They're opening their femininity and saying, you know what, come and abuse me, you know. And it's an old program. Go ahead. Sorry.
On my journey, I've, spoken in depth about, the path that we're just speaking about right now. And it's about, young children being assaulted and sexually abused at such a young age. They actually, if they stood up and said no, one, they're not strong enough to defend themselves. And two, they're going to be even probably prosecuted or hit or bashed or beaten 10 times worse. So how would you handle that situation? Because we are on a soul contract and we are here for a reason. What about the kids that can't help themselves?
This is the hardest part to explain when it comes to death and kids, because how do you explain or justify a death or a rape of a kid, or a death of a child? And from a conscious point of view, from an energetic point of view, I don't look at the body anymore as a physicality in the aspect that a person's dying or there's an abuse. I look at everything as here, and I don't want to go too far, but I got confronted by a secret society 1 week after I woke up, and I was threatened. And as soon as I was threatened, spirit came through. I mean, full force. Then these people came back and said they can't touch me, et cetera, et cetera. Now, that's besides the point. But having conversations with this individual, he tried to, he seen me a year later and says, how do you do the things that you do? I said, if you really want to know, look into my eyes. He didn't want to look. He couldn't stand the light. We're too bright. So one of the things he says is, do you know, I told him, I said, you ready to switch sides? And he's like, no. I said, but I go, when you're ready, I'm here. I can take care of that for you. And he looks at me and says, I'm not ready, but when I am, I will. But I want to tell you something. He goes, we've never done anything bad. I said, no, I know you've never done anything bad. There was a reason why you were placed here. Because if you wouldn't have put you here, how could we see the light? How could we be pushed towards the light?
Exactly.
So to allow these things to come out is only to allow us to see the light. So when a child comes in here and is born and gets killed or raped, you wonder, the mother, what was the mother going through when that child was in her stomach? Was that mother being raped? Was that mother afraid of this? Or what was she projecting? Because the child came in innocent. What she doesn't realize is that she was pregnant and programmed the child to have that energy. So what happens is she experienced that reality within herself.
Yeah.
You know, I have children. And one of the biggest things here in America is alcohol. And one of the biggest fears of parents is, you know, getting caught up in the system, drinking and driving, et cetera, et cetera. Well, my son likes to drink. And one of the first things that universe told me says, Richard, what are you projecting? What are you creating? Because every time I tell my son when he leaves the house, I tell him, don't drink and drive, be careful. And what was the other thing? I don't remember. What was another thing? But what the universe told me says, Richard, no, look at it this way. Have fun. I see you when you get home. Instead of programming them with the negative, don't drink and drive, don't do this, don't do that, you're creating that outcome. So now my message is have fun, enjoy your night. I'll see you the next morning. So that's the outcome.
Yeah.
It's learning where your focus is at on everything that you do in life.
I guess, Kelly, I think to answer your question too, like, see, in a lot of my clearings years ago, my mother's sexual abuse would come up. So, like, yeah, I was clearing so much of her abuse. And I mean, I had minor incidents of sexual abuse this life. And I know that I unconsciously at 6 years old created that experience of being molested because I carried a combination of my own past life, sexual abuse energy, plus ancestral, very strong ancestral lineage, sexual abuse energies. So in the womb, and I've been shown this, that I took all that on, you know, that I chose as a soul to take that on. And as a child, you know, I couldn't do anything about it. It was just part of my contract to go through this. And then later on in my life, like Rich has just said, then I've had to empower myself, say no, find my power and my voice to come into my power. And as soon as I did, abuse, disrespect, those types of energies in men just don't even come into my reality. So I guess the best thing you can do to empower your kids is to teach them to say no, but also to clear them yourselves, or to take them to practitioners who, you know, who can help clear them, and also keep clearing yourself as a parent. So I guess that would be my advice.
Yeah, so basically my question was like based at newborns and pretty well much children that, you know, don't have that strength to be able to say no or to be able to run away. As a mother of four, I have a 16-year-old as of yesterday, and he's gone, oh my gosh, I'm 16, yay. I'm so like, so, you know, and we spent the day together yesterday, and you know, and I said to him, you know, what's so different today from yesterday? I said, it's, you know, it's another day. And he turned around to me and he said, just being 16, Mum, being able to know that I'm no longer a child or a kid, and knowing that he's now stepped into like an adolescent role, and, you know, I could leave home if I wanted to. I'm just like, whoa, really? You better go and get yourself a job and start, you know, planning things and getting things all organised. But for him, he felt more mature, but and understanding, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And 3 more children to follow.
Yeah. I guess if it's a baby, it's just part of the way I would look at it, is it's part of their destiny to experience that trauma, so that then they can learn the lessons later on in life, which is how the diamond is formed, you know, is from our greatest traumas, tests, challenges, etc. So there's definitely beauty in the hardship of the human experience, and that's what you have to dig and face and confront.
Well, another thing too, you got to remember you are in your own reality, and the child is in their own reality too. So you got to keep in mind is what fears or judgments or projections you're projecting out there. And no matter what your child is, you have to remember you want to project nice outcomes, that he's making the right decisions, that he is responsible, that he's this. But, you know, it's like when they're kids, a lot of times we have, you know, And I know I've been caught up in this, and this is one of the stuff that I'm having to learn right now, is how to become a better father. But I was one of those fathers that would say, you know, you dumbass or you idiot or this or that, not being aware how much damage you're doing. I have a 27-year-old. Wow. That 27-year-old right now, because he's one of the indigos, and his awakening process is coming right after me right now, and he's having to clear things out, and he's not realizing because he's not open to it yet. And I've shared these concerns already. I said, look, if you don't start, things are going to become tougher for you. And sure enough, he's having to deal with that stuff because he's not, you know, open to it.
Yeah.
It's
a
situation, isn't it, when they're not open and you can see what's happening. It's tricky.
So right now, all I say to myself, I know he's in a retrograde, and I know he's doing a lot of clearing right now. So what I tell myself right now is, after this retrograde, he's going to be more better. He's going to be more clear. He's going to be more understanding. So I'm setting intentions out there for, we're all shifting. We're all moving. And not only us here, but also the collective, you know, because that's the whole reason why a lot of people are starting to have these talks, is to shift this collective to a higher consciousness, because we're already here. It's just believing that we are.
Richard, I love your talk about, you use the word projections. I love it, because we are, you know, for those listening, we are creator beings. Like, that's what we do. We are one of the most powerful beings in all of the universe, but we humans are not aware of this. So we do have to be conscious of what we're thinking, how we're feeling, and what we're expecting, both for the outcome of our own life and the people around us.
Yes.
To, create our reality and co-create the reality of the people around us. You know, as a healer, you know, it's part of my job is to see the light in people and to see their potential, not to see their pain or their problems, which is why I can so easily hear their stories and hear their pain and not take it on or not feel pity, because I see where they're heading, and me seeing their future and their happiness and their abundance and seeing their potential that allows that co-creation to happen. And the same is for our children, you know, our clients, our children, our partner, our friends, our business, our colleagues, our staff. It's everybody, the planet, you know. So we do have to be careful, and this is to the listeners, to really watch what we're thinking, right? And to really picture what we want for the planet and for our lives. It's crucial, because we are creative power in a physical human body, and we need to channel that energy towards what we want to see and experience in the positive.
Yes, a whole.
Yes, I'm so glad you spoke about that, because that's such a potent... People are just so unconscious, and we need to be more conscious and more aware to use that consciously to direct that energy.
Well, that's one of the things that I trip out about when it comes with couples and masculine and feminine energy. I understand that there's a couple, but the real energy is within yourself, you know, unifying the masculine energy within yourself. Because as you do that, what happens is that reality that we're talking about becomes easier to manifest. The things attract easier into our lives. And not only this, your partner turns into your dream. Your ultimate dream of a partner, your partner turns into that. Not what they are, not what your partner is today is all your fears and your worries. That's what your partner is. And the moment you unlock that goddess within yourself, then your partner becomes that goddess, that perfect person, that perfect being, because you're projecting all those energies. And again, to me, I call this reality a virtual reality, and our eyes are just those goggles that we put on top of our face, you know, and to be able to experience that reality. And every person is energetic. And the only time we see that person into our reality is when that energy comes into our field. And if that person has a projection, and I'm just going to share this, I'm fat, their energy comes into my program, my reality, and automatically says, Richard, you're going to look at this person, and this person is heavy. So when you have this conversation, you're going to see this person as heavy. But in reality, we're all perfect. We're all beautiful beings. And the only thing that you're seeing, you remember that movie Shallow Hallow, is your own beliefs and programs.
Yeah.
So as we learn and understand that our eyes are projecting every image that's gone outside of us, then we'll automatically see what we want to see when we start believing that it's all there. Because every person is beautiful, every person is perfect in every way, shape, or form.
Beautifully said. So true.
You're on mute.
Oh, am I on mute?
No, Kelly is.
Oh, Kelly.
I am. Hey, it's nearly a wrap, and I just want to say how honoured and absolutely like in awe of both of you. Like to finish the summit with two amazing people that have similar aspects of what they're going through in their lives at the moment, and being able to share openly. I think it's amazing, and I really love what you both are doing with, you know, in the different areas of the world. So I can't thank you both enough for being here today. Tonight, I think for you, is it nighttime there, Rich?
No, it's just dark where I'm at. It's I'm in California, West Coast.
Yeah. What's the time there?
Oh, is he frozen?
Yeah, I think he's frozen.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna call it a wrap, and yeah, thank you so much, Tamika, and I look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Having me too, beautiful.
All right, well, you take care.
Thank you. You too.
No worries. Bye.
Bye.